Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Once again, I've got a frog in my throat, so hold on just a second. Much better. After our adventures investigating the house on Sentinel Hill last week, we're headed over into the skies of World War I Europe as we play Western Front Ace by Compass Games. We're picking up with our playthrough for Elwyn Bowman as we are in our Newport 17 in World War I. And actually I need to find the chit with our current base on it. At least I'm assuming there should be one. Oh, here we go. Alright, our current base is Le Hameau. Okay, so I think we are going to try to play we're going to try to play at most 2 missions tonight because I do need to set up for tomorrow's stream. So, with that in mind, we've already counted a total of 3 sorties for the month, so we should have actually 3 experience, so 3 experience points is what we should have over there, since the balloon busting we did for our first sortie of the month counted as 2 because it was so dangerous. Once I get the 3 out here, we'll put that down there, and then we'll be all set to start with this one, and we'll see what our mission is going to be. Yep. Okay. So this is our 3rd sortie, effectively our 4th, and we roll 2d6 for the sortie for the Allied powers. Let's see, that's a 7, so we're on an offensive patrol. Right. So that's an offensive patrol. But because we also have the some offensive, I need to check how this works, but since we have an offensive marker present and we rolled an offensive patrol, I'm pretty sure I was saying something about a ground attack mission in No Man's Land instead of the listed mission. I'm just looking here. Hold on. I think we ended up with that. Check to see if any of the major ground markers need to be placed or removed from the map. So where did we see that note? Okay, right. Looks like it's on the log. So we are going to have a ground attack mission. So let me find a chit for that. Is it in here? No. I had my hands on it. I had my hands on it a minute ago. Here we go. All right. So our current mission is a ground attack mission. Presumably what that means is we'll have to travel to No Man's Land, work over the target for a little bit, and then come in there. 7 is rolled. Your mission has changed to ground attack. Okay, which I believe that gets connected to all bases. Right. Let me just take a look at the see if I can find something about major offensives. And of course it's not going to say major offensive in the index because that would make our lives a little too easy. Maybe line patrols. Give me something about that. Right, so we have to get to So we do have to get to enemy territory, but because we have to travel to no man's land and conduct the attack. So they award double credit as well. Strafing follows the procedure as a balloon busting mission. Okay, so we are all set to start this mission. So we're just about to take off here. That'll be our first order of business. Do we roll for... So move to takeoff box, which we've got there. Move endurance marker to takeoff. We'll roll for an encounter in the takeoff box as Christoph is first to join us here as we're getting set to lift off. Just going to consult my notes on some of my previous missions. Okay. So our encounter chart is not on this side. We need that for the Austro-Hungarians. Actually, our encounter chart is right here. So we're at friendly lines right now. So we're at our base, getting ready to take off. That's a 3, so we have a 2-seater encounter already. That's great. All right. So, with a 2-seater in mind, we need to roll for what 2-seater we've got coming at us. We have to take on a German 2-seater. Actually, I believe on a ground attack. Oh, we can engage 2-seaters, so never mind. So never mind, that's a no encounter, which means we will move into neutral territory for an 8, so that will be... Actually, wait a second, we're not connected to Somme, so I don't think we have anything we have to worry about on this offensive. So we actually have a... Actually, this is just an offensive patrol. And good evening, Jay. So this is an offensive patrol that is not changing to a ground attack but we're based at Le Hameau, which isn't connected to Somme, so we don't have to worry about an offensive there. So we need to change this ground attack chit out for an offensive patrol, which means we need to get over at least to no man, which means we need to get to enemy territory. So I believe now that we're on offensive patrol, I think now we can engage a 2-seater. I'm just going to double check that though. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't see anything. I saw something. Oh, balloon busting is where we couldn't engage. So it looks like we actually can engage a 2-seater. Which means that brings us back to our 8 for a German 2-seater. We've got an LVG Roland C2 coming at us. So LVG Roland C2. Which means now we need to get set for combat. And in order to get set for combat, so we roll for enemy aircraft, roll for starting orientation on chart B1, which is not there. B1, starting orientation. So that's another 2d6. That's an 8 on 2D. That's an 8 on starting orientation, so we're starting head on. So I'll fish out a chit to represent it looks like I've got these organized by country. So Britain, I need to find my German bag, which that's Italian. That's more Italian. Looks like this is Germany. Okay. All right. So, and I don't think I've actually got actually I might. What did we say we had? An LVG Roland C2. I don't think we have... I don't think that's the same plane, but it's what we'll use to represent us. So we are starting this encounter head on. which means now we need to go for... Now we need to go into combat. Alright, so we start facing each other, which means we are going to engage. So we've got so we're head on. We can shoot our forward weapon, which we will use an ammo from our forward weapon. From our machine guns, we've got 2 power on that. So forward guns. So the way we're going to roll for that is we're going to flip over a combat card. So our first combat card here for our firepower with 2. We get 3 hits out of that. So we'll roll for... We'll fire back at facing you. We shoot, and I believe combat's considered to be simultaneous. Fighter's attack card, okay? We also choose not to fire, which we didn't. Flip a second card. This is the card for the fighter. So the fighter... So the LVG has 10 speed, 1 agility, but that doesn't tell me anything about the firepower it's got. It's probably on... Oh, defensive fire. Duh. Alright, so let's see what defensive fire it does. It does 2 hits back to us. So I'll roll for our hits first, which our hits go on the... Looks like it's the fighter damage chart. So we'll roll our hits first. Let's see, a 35, that's a port strut hit. Finding a damage chit. Port strut, we've got 2 more hits to roll for us. A 41 is a canvas hit, which amounts to it'll scratch it off. Or it'll walk it off. And 46 forward weapons. So their forward weapons are knocked out after this round of combat gets resolved. So there's nothing for the forward weapons. Actually, that's up there. We'll just say the forward weapons are damaged. So now we have to roll for the 2 hits on our plane. A 33, that's a port strut hit for us, which also has the potential to be problematic. And a 45, that's a starboard strut hit. So actually I need one of these markers for both of those. Alright, so I need a 1 there and a 1 there. Okay. Now, for the option to get out of combat, at the end of the round we'll roll 2 dice for the initiative. Roll is modified by current speed. Okay, so our speed is an 11, theirs is a 10. So we're rolling 2d6 and modifying it for the result. So let's see what happens here. We'll roll black for us, white for us, black for the Germans. No change on the initiative, though, I believe. Yep. No change there. So we're still head on. Oh, I never rolled for... did I roll for the last hit? No, I didn't roll for the last hit we inflicted on them. 25 is an engine hit. That could be good. So we put an engine hit on. So we put an engine hit on the two-seater that we're up against. So we'll roll. So now we'll flip over a couple more cards so we can get more hits. So this is round 2. We are using another ammo from the machine gun. So we're still head on. So our attack with 2 is another 3 hits. Then for defensive fire, they will inflict 3 hits as well. Yikes. That's problematic. Okay. So, I'm going to roll for all 3 of our hits first. 34. That's a canvas hit. They'll walk that one off. Next hit. 15 is landing gear, so that'll make it harder for them to put down. So landing gear is knocked out, which they don't have on the two-seater, so nothing happens there. And 36 controls hit. That could be good. And the controls hit for them. Then their hits on us. 46. Our forward weapons are out, so we might have to make a U-turn and head for home here. Right. Forward weapons are out, and that's all we've got. So 2 more hits that we have to roll for, though. 51 is another starboard strut hit. And finally, 26 is a canvas hit, so that one we would walk off. Unfortunately, given that our forward guns are out, we are going to have to roll for we're going to roll for initiative to see what happens, because we're probably going to want to try to turn tail and run here. Okay, we actually will end up tailing the two-seater. But I think we are going to have to try to break off here. So we're at the start of a new round. And if after rolling an encounter... Let's see, is there a way we can... Or they're both inoperative, the encounter automatically ends. So I think we knocked out... They knocked out our forward weapons. We actually didn't knock theirs out. So... I think here, both aircraft have no ammo. We'll always immediately go defensive in combat. Okay. So they should have been... They'll attempt to break off and end the engagement. Okay, so it looks like they are going to attempt to break off. Now we need to figure out how they attempt to break off. So, let's see, successful disengagement. We'll attempt to disengage. So if tailing, so this action occurs instead of firing. Okay, if tailing you succeeds and the combat is ended. So yeah, we're gonna have to break off here. The question is, do we try to go into enemy territory, or do we just eat the fail? I think we're going to have to eat the fail here. So we did end up getting 1 box, so we will eat the fail since we have no forward guns, which means we are going to try to land this bird. We got to roll for the weather. 3 is good weather, so now we get to try to land this thing. Good weather, and I know there's a table here for the landing chart. Okay, it's a 2d6. And we do have a -1 on the landing chart, thanks to having the landing skill. And 11 minus 1 is a 10. That's a safe landing. So we eat the fail. We'll have the crew replaced. And because we had to fail a patrol, does that count as another... Let's see, post-combat. Okay. Right, repairs are always assumed to be done before the next contact patrol. Okay, so I don't think... Question is, do we get an experience for flying a patrol? I think we do. So that'll give us +1 experience. But that'll count as a failed patrol. So now September 16, Patrol 4. So now we go back to full fuel, and then we'll roll to see what kind of patrol what kind of mission we're looking at this time. So I think we are going to do one more mission here, and then I'm probably going to call it a video there. It would help if I flip over to the correct chart. There we are. So let's see what mission we've got here. Let's see, that's an 8. So we've got a defensive patrol, which is going to keep us over our lines. Alright, so we reset all of this. We'll reset our damage as well. Let's see, I need the other ammo. This time we've got a defensive patrol coming at us, which is going to require us to be over... A defensive patrol is going to require us to be over friendly territory. So, we're back over here to Le Hameau. And now I need to figure out how that goes. Alright. Let's see here. Defensive patrol requires you to at least fly to a location. So we'll start off by rolling for an encounter in the takeoff box. I'm just getting some of this stuff out of the way. Up. Once again, that's not... Okay, chart I want is right here for that. So friendly lines. That's a 6. We've got nothing there. Now in our first endurance box, we're flying over... Oh, I shouldn't have had this plane yet. Prestige required 2. I am terrible at seeing prestige required. Alright, so that's takeoff. We're just going to go with it, though. So we did our takeoff box. This is endurance 1, and we're over... And it looks like we are... Alright, what's the objective of their defensive patrol? Looks like we want to... Okay, looks like on... Okay, looks like we did get credit for... Looks like we did get credit for that sortie since we did engage in combat. That, well, the last one that we did. Then for this one, I believe we just fly it over friendly territory here, just to have a few encounters over here. So we are staying in... We are loitering over friendly lines. That's a 3, so we do have a 2-seater. So now we've got a 2-seater. Let's see what type of 2-seater we've got coming at us. That's an 8. That's another LVG Roland. And I've got it right here. We'll roll for the starting orientation. That's an 8, which means once again we are head on. And he's going to want to go defensive. Actually, I don't think he can go defensive when we're facing head on. Right. Head on, both aircraft start facing each other. I'll just look here, but I'm pretty sure that against a two-seater, we'll always immediately go defensive. Right, we'll always immediately go defensive in combat, but I don't think they can go... I don't think they can go defensive when they're head-on. Actually, you may also choose not to fire and go defensive immediately. Okay, so yeah. They could... So yeah, looks like he is going defensive right away. So we'll go offensive fire right away, which means our offensive fire is in theory inflicting 4 hits. But we'll see what happens when he goes defensive. That's a half loop, so improved to trailing. So actually, he's going to come around on our tail. So now to trailing. So he's now tailing us, I think. I believe that's how that goes. Yeah, he moves to tailed. He moves to tailing us. So we do get the 4 hits there. So we'll roll for those before we end up getting tailed. 43 is rear guns. Which those are now knocked out, so he will have to break off. Once we get the rest of these resolved, because we might be able to just shoot them down before we end up tailing, or before we end up tailed. 21 is landing gear. Right, landing gear is knocked out for him, which he doesn't have landing gear, because of course he doesn't. Then 46 is his forward weapons are out. And finally, 32, canvas hit. So if he's still tailing us after the initiative roll, then if he's still tailing us somehow, which I doubt, then he's going to break off after this. So let's see what happens on the engagement roll. White is for us, black is for him. Okay, never mind. He's going to still be actually 15 or 5 plus. What did we have there? 5 plus 10 is 15. That's the 12 for us. So he's still tailing us, which means he's going to actually break off. So he's going to break off. Which means we have another encounter over friendly lines. So this is friendly lines 2. That's a 10, that's nothing. Friendly lines 3. That's an 8, also nothing. Still over friendly lines. We're probably going to put this bird down pretty soon. If this next encounter is nothing, I am going to go ahead and put this thing down. That's a 7, that's also nothing, so we are going to land this thing. I think we've done enough on the combat patrol. So now let's roll for the weather. That's a 9, so we've got bad weather, which means we've got a... So that means we're looking at a +2 on the roll, modified by a -1. That'll come down to a net +1 on the landing roll. So we want to see... So we can afford to see a... We can afford to see even boxcars. Which that's a 6 + 1 is 7. That's still a good landing. Which means we now have 5 experience on... We now have 5 experience. Because we flew 2 sorties today. Question is, do I want to buy any... Question is, do I want to buy any skills before we call it a video? And I think the answer here is... I don't have gunnery already, so I think I will spend... I think I will spend 4 experience to gain gunnery. So that'll bring me down to 1 experience. Which the gunnery skill gives me an extra random hit when firing if any hits are scored when firing the forward guns. So let me find the gunnery skill. I think I thought I saw it in here. Let's see here. Ah, here we are. There's the gunnery skill. That's going to our pilot. That's going to Elwyn. Oh, actually, it cost. We had one fewer cost. That actually only cost me 3 experience because I passed gunnery school and flight training. So I'm down to 2 experience, which I will. I'm gonna leave the 2 experience floating for the time being, as Philip Reynolds now joins us here. Actually, I think we're going to go for 1 more patrol. We should still have plenty of time. So let's do... Now that does count as our credit for sorties for the month, because we had balloon busting to start. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we've done all 5 of our sorties for the month of September, even if we didn't shoot anything down. So... we will have our first sortie of October. And we still have we don't have any offensive to worry about here. So, now that we've reset everything, I'll get that out of the way for the time being, and we'll roll for... Actually, I'm going to get this out of the way so I can flip over the mission chart. Actually, do we get to check for promotions? No, we don't. Just bear with me for a second while I get all of this scooped up. There we are. So one more mission on the first mission for the month of October, and what did I do? Here are the dice. I was looking for the 2d6s that I had. So this will be our last mission, as I need to get the table cleaned off so I can set up tomorrow's hockey stream. Also, we're back down to 2 experience. Let's put that right side up. Alright, a 7 is an offensive patrol. There's another offensive patrol. So we need to get over enemy territory for that. We'll roll for an encounter in the takeoff box. Actually, I need this, so we're in the hangar. All right, that's a 10. No encounter there, so we'll move a box, and then we'll move over to friendly territory. So we are we're overhead in the base. So no encounter. Friendly lines. That's a 9. Once again, nothing. Then moving over to no man's land. A 3. That's a 2-seater. Uh-oh. 2-seater. What does the asterisk mean? Gives a solitary hunting fighter out of the sun. Alright, so that's a 2-seater we've got coming at us. Yet another 2-seater. This time we've got... Wow, the Rolands are out today. We've got another LVG Roland C2. Okay, so I'm going to grab another... So this is an offensive patrol, and I'm going to grab another chit that I can use to mark where we're currently at. So we're currently in no man's land, and I need to roll for our starting orientation. That's a 6, so we're head on once again to start this. We'll go offensive fire. They'll of course go defensive right away, so we'll get our firepower card. 3 hits coming at us, or 3 hits that we're sending out, in theory. And then he's going defensive right away, so defense for him. Yikes, he avoids all damage. Ouch. Alright, well. That was annoying. And now we roll for initiative, once again with a speed of 10. So we should be at that box right now. Alright, that'll improve us by 2 positions. So we end up tailing him. And we'll use another round of ammo. And he's going defensive again. So let's see what we get for combat. What do we find here? Our card up first. Wow, 5 hits. Let's hope we don't get another evasive. That would actually be 6 hits because of gunnery. But let's see what card he draws being defensive. Side loop, improved by 1, by 2 if rotary engines. So he's going to end up... Actually, he's going to end up... That doesn't seem like an improvement. Yeah, it is actually. So, still advantaged, but we do get 6 hits. Because we have the gunnery skill. So let's see what we pull here. 55 is a canvas hit, so he'll walk that one off. An 11 is a crew injury. That's... Okay, that doesn't seem like it should be... So crew injury. Okay, we get to check for who's hit on the enemy crew. We'll do that first. A 6 is a pilot. And the pilot's KIA, so we actually shoot this plane down. So that'll effectively end the encounter, which means we do nail a 2-seater in our first encounter. So whoopee. So Roland. So LVG C2. All right, so that plane gets shot down. I'm not going to worry about rolling for everything else. So we do get over enemy territory. So enemy lines, which means we are here. That's a 10. That's nothing. Actually, I think this is considered enemy territory. So we're going to move back over no man's land since we just had to get to enemy territory, so the offensive patrol is considered a success. So we're back over no man's land. 4 is nothing. And friendly lines. So we're back to friendly territory again. That's a 7, nothing, which is very welcome. And now we're working on trying to land this bird. So we'll roll for weather. Weather roll 6, so good weather, and -1 because of landing skill. That's an 11 -1 is 10, so we effectively have a safe landing. That's credit for 1 sortie and 1 kill. So we get +1 experience going up to 3. And I think that is where we'll call it a video here. So that'll do it for this playthrough of Western Front Ace by Compass Games. Another game in the Greg Smith line of games, and I really enjoy this one. Admittedly, it's my first World War I game, and I really like the narrative aspect of this one. I've made no bones about the fact that I like these more narrative-heavy games. And our first kill of our career, so that's also a good thing as well. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit, so let's wrap this video up. Tomorrow, we're back to the 2009-10 hockey season playoffs, as we are going over to the SAP Arena in San Jose, California, as the Phoenix Coyotes are visiting the San Jose Sharks in the 2009-10 Western Conference quarterfinals. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will begin out of the Elder Scrolls cookbook, official cookbook, as we're making the appetizer, stewed apples and Idar cheese. Sunday, we're starting the fall campaign in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader by DVG. Next week, Wednesday, we'll be starting a new RPG on the channel as we debut 5 Leagues from the Borderlands by Modifius Entertainment. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone, and thanks for the kind words, Christoph.